r/ask Reddit. What feels like a cult, and is in fact a cult? Scientology. Throwaway account. My child's mother is a Scientologist. In deep posters, books, pamphlets, etc. Frequents church quite a lot. Believes LRH is a great man. I've tried to have converse with her and her husband about it, but they're excruciating. It always leads to having to watch a video about it. I've been to one of the churches. It's literally an infomercial inside a building. Books for sale all over. Shocking. And all written by L. Ron, even though he's been dead for decades. They'll spend hours in an auditing session while my child sits in the lobby watching YouTube, which they don't monitor. I know way more about Scientology than I ever wanted to know, and I still don't know enough. And I'm very wary about my child growing up with it as an influence. Edited to correct weary to wary. Obviously I don't know your situation or country, but I dealt with my child's father being heavy-handed with religion, to the point I had to have a family court mediator order him to limit her time in prayer. He was having her pray for 2 hours a night. They told him 1 minute for every year of age, so at 6 minutes was appropriate. Anyway, my long point is, if you have hesitations about your child's religion, and I think you should be hesitant because Scientology is so divisive, they could actually alienate your child from you if you're considered suppressive or some bullshit. I just want you to know you have options and rights. All of these nutrition places with their loaded teas are just a front for Herbalife. Most MLMs have the cult vibe. The LuLaRich documentary talks about the major cult vibes they were using to work their retailers into a frenzy and not realize they were being conned. The LuLaRich documentary is fantastic. MLMs, but especially Mary Kay. I went to a convention once as the guest of a consultant because she was trying to get me to join. It was very step forward. Also, she didn't tell me you were expected to dress up, so I showed up in jeans and a hoodie. I watched some documentary or something about this or a similar MLM, and you're not supposed to know you're supposed to dress up because the point is to make you feel crappy and like everyone else is successful. Now that I know this and I ever get the chance to go, I will put on underwear just for the occasion and nothing else. Boarding schools for troubled teens. For anyone interested, check out this comic about Elan. It is insane and beyond all imagination. Kids kidnapped in their sleep, forced to stare at blank walls for months on end, beating up each other etc etc. Can't recommend this enough. Clear your day and read this comic. You won't be able to put it down. NutriBoom. You sound like someone who needs to raise, then lower their amino acids. You'll feel much better. Why would you want to raise your cholesterol? The troubled teen industry. I was sent to a wilderness program for being a troubled teen, and I can say with 100% confidence that my issues only worsened because of it. I am still working with a therapist to deal with the trauma that program caused me. The feeling of being stripped out of your bed at 2 AM and being put on a plane, not being told where I was going, with 2 large security guards keeping me hostage, is something I will never forget. And that isn't even the tip of the iceberg compared to the things they did to me and other kids once I got there. Shit needs to be illegal. It goes against fundamental rights. How the hell is that even legal to begin with? Holy crap. Jehovah's Witnesses. Came here for this comment. They send mail to my house addressed with my government name, not just our neighbor 123 any street, asking me to visit their church. I send all the mailers I get for pest control and landscaping back to them. I was raised as one. They look up addresses online, and using sites like White Pages they can get the names of every person that lives at an address. They won't stop writing to you. I recommend you respond. There might be a phone number in the letter. There might not. If so, call it. If not, write a letter back. Say that you were raised as a JW, but found the truth with the help of Satan. You're one of the 144,000 but have rejected your heavenly calling for a life of service to Satan. Then tell them to please stop writing letters or you'll be forced to summon some demons to possess their homes. They'll believe every word of it. They actually believe in this shit. I guarantee you'll be left alone after that. Edit. Some people think I'm being a bit harsh, which is understandable. This comment explains why I am so harsh towards a religion that seems mostly harmless, if annoying. https:// www.reddit.com/askreddit comments Riot what feels like a cult and is in fact a cult hedges to you /UTM source equals share and UTM medium equals IOSAP and UTM name equals IASMF and context equals 3. Whatever the Duggars are, creepiest bunch I've ever seen. Quiverful, absolutely a thing. Technically their church is the IBLP. Quiverful is like a DLC. Quite a few churches have Quiverful followers, mostly Baptists as far as I know. The name is from this Bible verse low. Children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are children of the youth. Happy is the man that hath his quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. They refuse to use any birth control, even tracking cycles. The only method that they are allowed to use is breastfeeding, which only works for 6 months or so. Many of them have kids 1-2 years apart. The entrepreneur lifestyle. Many people are encouraged to put aside pleasures of life in the tiniest hope that if they just grind hard enough they'll be billionaires. Oh, also, while caring a lot about your money and how you spend it, buy my $500 plan to help you make money faster. I've found out that if anyone advertises they are an entrepreneur they are more likely to be a scammer/faker than an actual business owner. Like I know a guy that owns an excavating company. When he meets people and they ask what he does, he doesn't say I'm an entrepreneur, he says I work in excavation or says he owns an excavation company. Only people saying they are entrepreneurs are wannabes in my experience. Whenever people say I've founded 50 companies they never say what those companies actually do. The prosperity gospel. All hail Joel Osteen. Open bracket. Imagine Martin Short channeling Tim Allen. You can't unsee it after that. Also, if you've planned a vacation in advance, and it's known, don't let people drag you back to work. You are more important than anything else. Duck work. If you told them well in advance and had it planned out, don't let anyone stop you from taking it. Canon. These crazies. Jesus Christ. One man killed his kids cause he thought they were going to turn into lizard monsters. Edit. Here's the link. https://www.news.com News California dad killed his kids over Canon serpent DNA conspiracy N1,276,611. It's sad that this isn't very hard to believe. Scientology. Look up Xenu. Hawaii did not even exist 75 years ago. L. Ron Hubbard was nuts. Yet Scientologists believe this shit. I can't believe Tom Ducking Cruise believes this shit. Anyone says they are a Scientologist, avoid them like the plague. Batshit crazy. I wondered if they've just got some shit on Tom Cruise and he can't leave. According to Leah Remini, Tom Cruise is a true believer. It's John Travolta that I really wonder about. Within the cancer community there's a political group who have all read, probably, Chris Beat Cancer and it's a bullshit book telling you can cure cancer by changing your diet. Sugar is the main villain. You can fight me all you want but sugar does not cause cancer. Listen to your oncology approved dietitian and get the duck off Facebook. Just this past weekend I had lunch with my friend's dad who is also terminal and his wife has banned him from sugar because of this bullshit. The dude is dying and he's not even allowed to enjoy himself in moderation because she heard about it on Facebook. Edit. Chemo brain often forgets the huge difference between nutritionist and dietitian. Sorry, my bad. And finally, I'm done arguing. Thanks everybody. Please listen to the cancer patient in your life and what they want. Do they want to change their diet? Absolutely go for it, but make sure they're getting the right nutrition from a qualified professional. Do what they want. You actually have no idea. We really need to shift our current state of cancer care to a more palliative, not hospice, big distinction, model. A cancer patient that is as relatively happy as can be has the potential to increase their outcome. And finally, donate blood and sign up for Bethamatch. Org, we need you. When I had cancer, people gave me a lot of unsolicited advice. I was told to do a number of bullshit diets and to not use Western medicine. I had no tact at the time. I was so exhausted and sick. I would just remind people that I was a single mother who did not have duck around and find out money for alternative healthcare. And it would be cruel to deny my children their mother because some idiot told her to change her diet and she died. I asked a few people if they were volunteering to pay for my funeral. Edit. You guys gave me treasure. Thank you. We had this fight with my grandma. I, out of state, happened to be visiting her in hospice when they did a team conference, so I sat in on it on my mom's medical power of attorney and also out of state behalf. My aunt was the one doing a lot of the day-to-day since she lived in town. She was having them deny my dying 94-year-old grandma cookies because she wanted her to be gluten-free. No kind of gluten intolerance, allergy, celiac, and no reason to suspect it. So my mom had to tell them to give her all the cookies she wanted. Westboro Baptist Church. A few years ago they decided to come all the way to Montana and protest the Catholic Church, if I recall correctly, because we're too friendly towards gay people. Thing is, they were protesting outside a cathedral with several tons of church bells. The bells, electronically controlled, were set to crackhead in the tower pulling all the ropes. You couldn't hear a word of what the Westboro nuts were chanting over the constant chiming. Then it started randomly snowing on them, so they packed up and went home. Snow fell on them and they left. What a picturesque sight, like peace was being restored by God himself. Workplaces that tout we are a family. I seen too many people fall into that and get ostracized by the family. They let you go at the first sign of financial trouble. People who are way too invested in the college they attended. Yep, I remember one time I was working in a call center and I said to a customer on the phone, "Alright, how can I help you with your Ohio University card?" A silence. "Ohio State," he said sternly. Me to myself, not one single soul on earth before or after today will give a solitary duck about which Ohio college you attended. You ass napkin. It's strange how obsessed people get with school. Shudder. The Ohio State S. Mormonism. I grew up as a young girl in the Mormon faith. Not only is that brand of Christianity completely brainwashing, I grew up with strict rules and the understanding that God designed men and women different, and because men are visually stimulated, that modesty and my sexual purity was a God-ordained gift to protect through modesty. If you commit a sexual sin, like masturbation for example, you must confess to a bishop who is generally a middle-aged man. I confessed to my bishop that I masturbated. He asked for disturbing details. Being ashamed as I was taught to do, I answered every question he asked, hoping God would forgive me if I was just honest. I met with him, week after week, updating him on when I had sinned this way, and he asked too many detailed questions every time. I was uncomfortable but thought I needed to confess everything he asked for God to forgive me. I was ducking 14 years old and didn't realize until my mid-20s that no one else, specifically males, were ever asked questions like I was when confessing to masturbation. So basically my cult allowed a closet pedophile to violate my privacy and my comfort for the sake of his sick pleasure. Those questions should never have been asked. Even if God was in the Mormon church, that man made me unwilling to ever trust that creepy cult again. Bishop's interviews are horrific. What's even worse is the Mormon religion excommunicated the bishop that tried to stop this. Sam Young should have gotten way more respect than he should have. Former Mormon here too. My uncle sexually assaulted many children, including me. My mom didn't care, just told me that's how it is. Turned out the whole family knew about him. But since he was a bishop, it was okay. He was moved around to different wards for years. They wouldn't excommunicate him for harming children. They just pawned him off onto different wards to victimize more people. My aunt divorced him a couple years ago, which was a big deal in the church. Why? Infidelity. Not because he had been assaulting their own children for years. That wasn't a deal breaker for her. But cheating was. My mom and most of my aunt's uncles support him. She even tries to convince me he's a man of God once in a while. Screw that and screw that cult. I hope you're doing well and that you're away from that garbage. America. Worst cult vibes ever. I almost got suckered into that. After going to an interview, I realized what it was and decided to back out. A year later, I saw they had charged my card $30. It took me way too long and more arguing than should have been necessary to get a refund. Almost got suckered into that. After going to an interview, I realized what it was and decided to back out. My exact experience. I had worked for Kirby 2-3 years before this. A friend invited me to a meeting and it was Kirby all over again. The overexcited enthusiasm and friendliness that has horror movie vibes. Which is accurate because the real horror is you getting drained financially while they string along promising riches. Those Shen Yun performances that are overly advertised every year. Turns out they're directly tied to Falun Gong. I was gonna comment this if no one else did. Falun Gong, what if Scientology but East Asian and kinda racist? Yup, they get a lot of Western sympathy because what the PRC does to them is not okay. They are still a cult, though. People who buy Twix candy bars based on the left Twix versus right Twix. I am a Twixual. Great, now you made me want a Twix, but I'm not sure if I want to eat the left one, or jam the right one up my ass. NXIVM. All hail Vanguard, and pass the branding iron. Scrolled through and didn't see it. Oh shit, at first I thought you were talking about Vanguard index funds and I was about to get real defensive. Chief's mess in the US Navy, which comes complete with initiation. Something no other branch, enlisted or officer, has, in that this somehow forms an eternal bond of blood by family. That includes eating food out of trash cans and sabotaging uniforms for the greater lesson. Then private meetings that have grey areas, secrets of what happens in those meetings. Specifically anything related to punishments or review boards. The fact that it takes two chiefs talking behind closed doors to get anything accomplished is also proof. People notice, though it's implied that it's not noticed. No other branch treats E7 the way the Navy does. All those ducking goat locker shirts at the necks, and stickers on every single chief's truck. Miss me with that bullshit. I got out. Second class for life. Pentecostalism. They tell everyone they are the true original Christian church, but in reality they just control people. Most of their churches have tons of rules. Women can't cut their hair at all, or wear pants or jewelry. Watching TV or movies is either discouraged or outright forbidden. Any type of alcohol consumption is forbidden. That's just the beginning of it. Highly recommend doing some research into the movement. Crazy bunch of people. Edit. Obligatory RIP my inbox. I'll try to respond as I'm able. Guys. Edit 2. For those that were a part of this denomination and have since left, check out r/xpentecostal edit 3. Holy shit, it just keeps coming. Come over to r/knackhead Pentecostalism. I can't respond to every comment here. Any type of alcohol consumption is forbidden. Meanwhile, Jesus himself holds up wine. Take this cup and drink from it. I can tell you from personal experience that Christian sects that believe in total abstention from alcohol will bend over backwards to say that pretty much any inconvenient mention of wine on the Bible is just talking about grape juice. Multi-level marketing. MLM. Sell to your friends. They don't want to buy in? Remove them from your life. Mom-run community Facebook pages. Edit. I didn't realize this would blow up like it did. Some of these moms gotta be stopped on the real. Mayo, thank you for the awards as well. Every iteration of the self-improvement, self-actualization, get rich, get happy seminar scam, landmark forum, EST, Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, MLMs, etc. They all make liberal use of brainwashing and manipulation techniques you also routinely see used by cultists, and their goal is the same: to exploit desperate people for financial gain. Crossfit. No bro, only people who aren't safe injure themselves. 2 weeks later, yeah, it was a freak accident. A plate shifted 2 inches so I pivoted 180 degrees and bam, tore my shoulder. 1 in a million bro. Anyway, you should come check out my gym. This can't be said enough. The ways that they mix weightlifting and other shit are a breeding ground for injury. I don't give a duck how perfect your form is. People slip when they're tired. That's why you do lifting with spotters who know what they're doing and with proper safety equipment. Because using weights is dangerous enough on its own. First time I checked out a CrossFit gym, I noped the duck right out of there. Amish, Mennonites, and other Anabaptists. You may think they're all quaint and cute, but there are huge abuses hidden in those churches. You own up. Worked with a nurse practitioner who was ex-Amish. Badass lady. Went from Amish to Army to LPN to RN to cardiac nurse practitioner. She told me how bad the drug abuse and sexual abuse and domestic abuse is. Most times victims just think that's how life is if they don't have much contact with the English world. Sorts by controversial. Genuine love of a single politician. Yes, maybe this person is legitimately good, or is doing positive things in certain areas and perhaps negative things in other areas. It's largely subjective. If it weren't, most countries' citizens would just be happy. But listen, if this person is the best and we're going to harp on about it forever, and in the reverse harping on hating said person forever, then you've got yourself a cult. If you love a politician, you're an embarrassment. They're certainly not as perfect as you think. We can acknowledge those imperfections and vote based on policy, but making a single one of them out to be perfect, or imperfect, means you've just chosen a side and you're likely not even going to try to open yourself up to altering opinions. Idolizing a politician is like believing the stripper actually likes you. Trump. As somebody who lives in Florida, people obsessed with Disney. Peloton. There's a scene from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Mac has put a rubber fist into the seat of an exercise bike so it hits you in the butt if you try to sit. Someone left a comment on a video of that saying, "This bike does to you what the Peloton bike does financially." Working at In-N-Out was a bizarre experience I would liken unto a cult. They damn near worship the owner Lindsay too. When I went to the company picnics she would perform on stage dancing. Once she did this weird sexy aerial dance in a floating cube, and the associates go crazy for her. Like, nuts. One of my co-workers and I were sitting there so uncomfortable while everyone screamed and grabbed at her like she was the damn messiah. Literally snot crying over not getting a t-shirt signed by her. Like, that is the billionaire heiress who employs you, not ducking Beyonce. Then of course all the In-N-Out culture, like the specific language you have to use, not just with customers, with each other too. The extreme Christian standards. It was nuts, and after working elsewhere, it was my first restaurant job when I was an HS until last year, I realized exactly how culty the whole company is. AA. Brand loyalist. I product people are scary. Essential oils, or as my mom calls it, multi-level marketing. Being a Trump supporter / conservative, I've never seen so many bootlickers in my life, it's sad. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.